Hey everybody, and welcome to the channel. Last week we tapped some of our black walnut and maple trees, and today we are going to build an evaporator. So an evaporator is kind of just a enclosed firebox that you can sit pans or trays of the maple sap or black walnut sap in, and you have a fire underneath, and it basically keeps it all the heat encapsulated to keep the water at a boil, because the most important aspect of maple sap making is keeping that maple sap boiling. If you're not boiling, you're not making syrup. You know what I mean? Because in past years, I've tried an open fire, I've tried a propane burner, and all of them were not great for whatever reason. The propane burner was very expensive to run, and the open fire was really hard to keep boiling. It wasn't hard to keep the fire going, but it was hard to keep it hot enough to keep it boiling at a steady, consistent rate. It would boil and then it would stop and then boil and stop, and it all takes longer and longer. So this year we're prepared. I tapped trees last week. Yesterday I boiled down probably about a gallon inside. I just didn't want it sitting out, Professional maple sap makers and even small time makers will, have a reservoir tank and all that kind of stuff. I don't have any of that, So basically what I'm trying to show you guys today is how to maximize your potential for personal use. So none of this has anything to do with commercial maple sap making or maple syrup making or anything like that. So just keep that in mind. This is all for your own personal use. And, a lot of what I try and do, and kind of like my whole ethos doing this stuff is how can we make our own stuff, like maple syrup or whatever, and actually make it efficient enough to incorporate into our lives, and not just make a little bit, but make enough to last the whole year, because if we're going to put all this effort towards something like this, then we should try and get enough to last us. So I've got a bunch of cinder blocks that I borrowed from our neighbor because I'm going to make this evaporator temporary. So we're just going to use cinder blocks. I've got the cinder blocks behind me here. I've got the chimney pipe here. And that's really all we need. Let me turn this thing around real quick. So these are I think this one's 20 quart. This one's probably close to that, containers that we're going to cook in. And so the idea is I'm going to build a box around them. They're obviously going to be lifted up off the ground. But I'm hoping that I can just hang these pots by their handles, supported on either side by the handles. And they'll be removable, and I can add syrup to them or sap to them and boil it down in there. So the first thing I need to do is I need to clear this area. This is an old fire pit that we used when we first moved here. Burned a lot of brush, and it was the first place I ever made maple syrup here. So I'm gonna just clear this out and kind of level it off a little bit so that I can start laying these concrete blocks and see how we do it. I mean, I'm just kind of doing this. I don't really have much of a plan other than like kind of the loose structure that I'm going to build and just seeing what works. I mean, really, just having a fire is good, but the more heat I can retain, the better. So I might even dig up some mud and cake some mud on the cracks and stuff to keep it insulated. Okay, so we can see. Yeah, I'm just trying to go simple here. So I've got the blockade on both sides in kind of like almost a torpedo shape going toward this transceiver. And I know it's galvanized, but who cares? We're out in the open. Any chemicals will get burned off in the first burn. I have to burn it once anyway because some of these blocks are painted. Like I say, you know, we use these. These were our neighbors, and she had used them for something, and you know, anyway. So I'm gonna put a grate down here, and maybe just to keep the fire right off the ground. But there should be just enough room for fire, and it's enough room to hang both of my pots here. And so now I got to figure out how I'm going to kind of stabilize this back area. All right, so I'm just gonna bridge the gap here with these bricks, and then I'm gonna sit a concrete block on top of them. And that should stabilize this pretty well. You know, this is temporary, guys, so I'm just trying to do as little as possible because, like I said, I want to be able to take this thing down. So yeah, just sit this on top, and all of the smoke should get drawn up there through the smokestack. Although I did kind of like the smoky flavor my maple syrup had before. Take you around here. So yeah, it can be simple, guys, you know. We're not a professional maple syrup. We're not even a small-time maple syrup business, or a business at all. So I'm not going to do too much here. I'm just making a simple fire apparatus. And I think I'm going to tap a few more black walnuts. I tapped this maple, silver maple, but I don't know, it's kind of being weird. So these silver maples have never really produced a whole lot. The only tree that produced a lot was up there, and we cut it down because we had to, because of the garden and all that kind of stuff. But hey, our dogs, I swear, they have a whole acre to play on, and all they want to do is be off of our property. Get over here. All right, now you guys can watch me struggle with this thing. See if I can do it. Yeah. Well, that was relatively harmless there. All right, I'm gonna need some kind of wire to strap this puppy down with. Let's see here. It's looking good. All right, I got the wire here. So let's see what we can do. So That was relatively painless. All right, let's try and sure it up. All right, as you can see, got it shirred up a little bit more. Got the pots at the right height. And yeah, you know, heat's still gonna escape, but much less than before. And I could go all out and do a bunch of stuff to this to seal it up, but it's honestly just not in my best interest to do that. And here's the coolest part though. So there's the firebox right there. And I got this door that we actually dug out of the greenhouse pit. So there's my little door. So I'm going to find a grate real quick and see if I can get this thing cranked up. And because I am not going to always have both of these tubs going at the same time, got this cool metal plate that I just stuck on there. And so now I'm gonna get it fired up and see how it works. All right, guys, we got it hooked up here. Got a fire going under there a little bit just to see what's going on, and it works. Smoke's coming out of the smokestack. We do have some smoke coming out here, but once the fire gets raging, any of that smoke's gonna go back there. And we are at a boil. Now, obviously, there's not much in there, which is fine. This is just a test run here, but it's pretty cool. Major improvement from last year for sure. You can already see all the steam boiling off. Pretty cool little temporary setup. Here we go, got the fire down there and the evaporator's working. Just testing it out, the kinks. All right, guys, so that is how you build a maple syrup evaporator. I'm sure there's many different ways to do it. This is the way that I'm doing it with scraps that I could just scrap together, essentially. So I made this for free. So while it's not perfect, it'll get the job done. And join me next week, because by next week I'll have enough syrup and we'll go over the whole process in one video. So thanks for watching.